Because here we are, guys, 6 o'clock. Back at you again, as we said we would be. We're talking about fasting. Of course, we're in our 18th day, again, of a 21-day campaign. An organized, not an attempt, but an organized campaign. Plotting a course, forging a course, defining a course of action that will bring us the result of having won our children back to God. This portion of our 21-day campaign consists of explaining and just sharing about what fasting does in that effort. So you know you're going to be, if you hadn't already known this, you're in warfare. You're in warfare because you, being the priest, being the tag, you're it person, being the agent of deliverance, the one that God has enlightened the eyes of your understanding, had given you mercy, grace, and clemency and pardon. And God is saying, I'm using you because I sought for a man to stand in the gap. You're that one to make up the hedge, to stand in the gap, to win them back from the powers that has obviously influenced them, affecting them in so many ways of their lives. So fasting is a spiritual discipline that we must understand as being kings and priests unto God. So let's look at the fasting. Fasting is not about the increase as much as it is about the decrease that brings the increase. Fasting is not about the food per se, because it's really about having the temperance and self-control to not rely and depend and be controlled by the natural substance of food more than it is giving ourselves over to God for a period of consecration to say, Father, let your word feed me. Let your will feed me. So it's starving that old Adam, that Adamic nature. It's starving the old man. And that old man will kick, scratch, and cuss. Anything. So you just get up off him, get up off him, get up off him. Just let me have my way. No, fasting. So in essence, when Jesus says, the prince of this world comes, but he finds nothing in me, the enemy uses so many different things as it relates to the legalities and the technicalities to create the intervention, interference, interruption, intercepting, hindering the prayers of the people of God from being answered. You know, there's rules to this. We don't just pray because we have a crisis. Hence, our crisis has got to become his emergency. Nah. And so there are rules to the rules of engagement, this system that's been set by God. So in the book of Isaiah 58, reading at verse 6, it says, Jehovah says, is not this the fast that I've chosen for you? One, to loose bands of wickedness. Please write that down. To loose bands of wickedness. That must be in your declaration concerning your children. To loose bands of wickedness. To, where are we? 6. To loose bands of wickedness. To undo the heavy burdens. And to let the oppressed go free. And that you break every yoke. To loose bands of wickedness. 1. To undo heavy burdens. 2. And to let the oppressed go free. 3. And that ye break every yoke. So now, if this is the fast that Jehovah God has chosen for us, giving us his promise to get this result without doing it God's way, and we're still trying to get a desired result without doing his way, yeah, confusion, religion, I don't know, but God is telling us this is how I know what you desire. I know where you are. I know and full aware of the situation. Here's what you need to do. And so that's what fasting does. Yeah, that's what fasting does. In the book of Daniel, chapter 10, as we quoted earlier today that we would cover tonight and we're covering now, that was Daniel that had fasted for 21 days. Daniel visited by Gabriel because Michael the archangel was apprehended and had to enter into a course of battle against the prince of Persia. the prince of Persia, his assignment was to withstay the answer, to make sure that Daniel would never get the answer that he needed. So he fasted. God said, Daniel, from the first day, in fact, that you've set your heart to seek God, I have heard your prayer. But the prince of Persia withstood me 21 days. So there are things that need to be addressed. But in the courts of heaven, the enemy brings railing accusation against us for unforgiveness, things that we have not renounced, things that have been brought before us, dealing with sin, dealing with iniquity, dealing with transgression, dealing with offenses, dealing with things. And so you want to understand, before you go into a battle, you must make atonement for yourselves as a priest under God. Now we're coming into a place of warfare, fighting with the word of God. So you must incorporate prayer. When it comes to this kind goeth not out but by prayer and fasting. In other words, there are rankings in the realm of the spirit. Based on these rankings, there are certain levels that we cannot pass in terms of breakthrough, in terms of the deliverance, in terms of whatever that manifestation is that we need. There are certain realms that we cannot access because of the flesh, because of the lack of obedience, because of things that are before us that actually is being used as the formed weapon. Oftentimes, it's things that we have not dealt with on the earth first. See, there are things on the earth that must be corrected before things in heaven can be released. There are things on the earth that must be addressed before things in heaven can be released. There are things on the earth that must be confronted before things from the heavens can bring the restoration that we desire. So fasting. Every Wednesday, we'll be fasting for the 21 days. So what's that? That'll give us 3 Wednesdays, right? And don't forget, we're here with you guys. We're coming to you with instructions, very simplified. As tomorrow morning, don't forget, we'll be here at about 8 o'clock. Also, tomorrow evening, we have Bible study, boot camp Bible study. Please be there for that. All of this is comprised in the 21-day campaign. Well, signing out for now. We love you guys. Keep your head up. Don't keep it on the swivel. Just keep your head up. You know why? Because your redemption draweth nigh, and God hears your heart cry.